Before we hop into this week's episode, I want to thank Davidjohn for sponsoring me throughout 2020. Make sure to check them out if you haven't already. Really fun games. I highly recommend checking them out. Now, let's hop into this week's episode. My name is Justin Yamok, here with the CNT podcast. This week I'm interviewing Chicago Cubs number 29 prospect Davidjohn.
What's going on? Nice to be here. I'm glad to be here. Can't wait for it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you again for agreeing to come on. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, no problem. But don't mind it at all.
So my first question is, what is your favorite thing about baseball?
My favorite thing about baseball is just like I'm someone that grew up on competing, and I just love to compete. And um, I found baseball at a very young age, and my dad made me, or not made me, but helped me fall in love with the game, and I just it came easy to me, and I just love being able to compete and go out there every day and do what I love.
Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a big competitor. I'm very competitive. It was one of my favorite parts when I played too.
Oh yeah, it's for sure. You gotta have some type of competitiveness if you want to play any type of sport.
Mm-hmm. I fully agree. Um, Another question I have is, what is your biggest motivation?
I'd say my biggest motivation would be just like wanting to be better than everyone else, because my end goal is to make the major leagues and stay there and be one of the best pitchers to play. And so one of my biggest motivations is just being better than everybody else, outworking them. And I'd say my dad is one of my biggest motivations, just because at my early age I started playing baseball at around 3 or 4, even if that was just picking up a ball. But my dad uh, took all the time in the world just to train me, to get me better, to make me fall in love with the game, like you said. And I couldn't have done it without him. So he's one of my biggest motivations.
That's super cool. I really agree with that. I feel like just having one or two people in your corner is like a huge difference maker.
Oh, for sure it is. It really is.
Who was your favorite team or player when you were growing up?
So my favorite player growing up, uh, I had a hitter and a pitcher. My favorite hitter, which is my favorite team, was growing up was the Boston Red Sox. I love David Ortiz. He was my favorite player. I just love how he was such a good hitter. He would hit bombs, and he was just my favorite player. And who doesn't love Fenway Park? So, and I love the colors red and navy blue. So it was my favorite colors, and that was my favorite team. But as a pitcher, I'd say my favorite pitcher growing up would definitely be Clayton Kershaw. It was someone I looked up to. I want to be just as good as him, and he was one of the most dominant lefties and still is to this day. And why not try to be as good as him?
Mm-hmm. Kershaw, yeah. He's a phenomenal player. Just won his first World Series.
Oh yeah, I'm super happy for him and the Dodgers. They deserved it.
They did. Uh, he is phenomenal,
Yeah, yes.
definitely. So another question is, what was going through your mind or head when you were drafted? Like, what's your draft story?
So I was going to the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I was committed there since my sophomore year, and so I had a really good relationship with them, the coaches. And so when draft day came, that my senior season, I had a bunch of scouts coming out, radar gunning me for my starts. So I had an idea that I was going to get drafted, and I was throwing pretty hard at that time my senior year, which was very helpful for me. And by the time before the draft came, I got invited to the Chicago Cubs pro workout day. That was in Wrigley. They dressed me up in Cubs uniform, and I got to experience Wrigley Field. I also went to the Atlanta Braves Stadium, pitched there, pitched at the Marlins Stadium and the Philly Stadium. Those were all pro day workouts that I got invited to, and I was super blessed just to be like a part of that as like a senior in high school. So I had like an idea that I could get drafted high enough to skip college. So I went into draft day. I didn't think I was going to get drafted in the first round, but if it did happen, I would have been amazingly excited. But I thought I was more of like a mid third, fourth round, and so I didn't hear I didn't hear anything about that. So the UNC coaches called me and said, "You ready to be a Tar Heel?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, I'm ready." And literally like 15, 20 minutes after that, because I didn't think I was going to get drafted or anything, but the Cubs called. They matched my money offer that I wanted, and they called in the eighth round, and I accepted it, and it was awesome. It was um, very, very, very blessed, and I was it was a proud moment because I made my family proud, and everybody was just so happy, and it was very cool to see all the hard work pay off. But in the end, it's like now you got to work even harder. You're playing against or you're with your teammates, but you're also competing against your teammates because you want it just as much as them. So you got to work even harder now. It was just like another stepping stone to work even harder and grind harder.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Thank you. Appreciate
hmm
it.
Yeah. Another question I have is so, did you like collect baseball cards as a kid?
I did. I don't remember much because I collected them when I was very young. I think in like elementary school, so I don't remember too much in elementary school. But I know I collected a bunch of baseball cards. I collected a bunch of football cards. I have like stacks and boxes full of them. I don't know where they're at actually, but I know I used to collect a bunch of them.
hmm that's super cool. I mean, I have a huge collection. It's what I kind of like. I created my podcast like off of my baseball card
I know.
collection.
I saw that. That was very cool.
So I have a huge collection, and it's probably my main hobby is collecting.
That's very cool. And cards they're gonna be worth something one day. You know.
hmm
That's very cool.
Uh-huh. So another question I have that kind of goes with is if you could tell your 12-year-old self something, what would it be?
That's a good question. I would tell my 12-year-old self that you may not, but make the best memories with the relationships and people that you have with. Time is very quick. That school phase happens so fast, even though it feels so long. Just make the best out of the moments that you can. Make the best memories with the friends you got or the friends to become, because that would be the things you look back on. You don't get memories back, so you just want to make the best of them. But baseball wise, I would tell myself to get a three pitch mix because in high school I only had or growing up I only had two pitches, which was my fastball and curveball. I never needed a changeup, but it would have been a very good head start if I did have a changeup. So I would have told myself to learn the changeup.
hmm that's super cool. Um, another question that kind of goes well with that is what pitches do you throw now?
I throw now a fastball, a forcing fastball. I throw a. I just changed my grip to a spiked curve, so it's a curve, but we're. I used to throw like a slurve. It was kind of slider and curve, so it was like both put in one. But now I'm trying to get more of like a 12-6 curveball, spike curveball, and now I'm throwing a circle change, which is coming along very good.
That's very cool. I know the circle change from playing MLB the Show is is not very many pitchers have it, and it's a very good asset to have.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's changeup. I feel like is one of the hardest pitches to learn because you want to make it look like your fastball, but you got to drop 10 miles per hour. So it's very tough to learn, but it's coming along very good.
That's very cool. Um, Another question is, how has COVID affected you as a player?
So I'd say COVID is affecting because I was going into my first, I guess you'd say, real season out of rookie ball because I got drafted last year. And so I was down here in spring training and I was throwing the best I've ever thrown. My arm was in really good condition. I was sitting 93 to 95, didn't throw anything under 92 the entire time. My curveball was looking really good, but then COVID hit and we got sent all home. But in reality, I know COVID's been such a terrible thing that's happened, but it's been honestly a blessing in disguise maybe for me because I needed to gain weight and I also needed to get a lot stronger. So off this COVID break, I've been able to stay in the weight room, grind at the weight room, get a lot stronger, gain weight. I've put on about 10 to 12 pounds, which is very good for me. It is so hard for me to gain weight. But and it's also helped me. One of my biggest problems with pitching was command, and I just uh, I feel like I've been able to focus on command, focus on getting confident of the pitches that I throw. So I'm very excited for what's to come, and I just can't wait. But COVID has not been too bad on me and my family, but we're just getting through trying to stay safe
That's very good. I'm glad that you're staying safe and still being able to walk on your game.
for sure.
Do you have any like superstitions or pre-game rituals you do before games?
Uh, I wouldn't say too much like superstitions. I am very superstitious when it comes to like other sports, but baseball I really don't because I played football and basketball when I was in high school. But baseball, but I did have some superstitions when I was a hitter. I would, if I didn't bat good with both batting gloves on, I would take one off, and then if I still didn't, I would switch them around, and if I still didn't hit good, I would take both of them off. But I guess I'd say a pregame ritual. I just pray before I throw. Before every inning, after the warm up pitches, I'll tell myself throw strikes, no walks, try to or no hits and no runs, and that's what I'll tell myself before that every inning. And but that I don't really have any like really good superstitions.
Mm. I'm kind of superstitious, but not a ton. I mean, I was never super superstitious personally.
Yeah, what are your superstitions?
Well, I'm a huge Cubs fan as I was born in Illinois and stuff.
Okay.
So I always try and wear something Cubs if I'm gonna watch the game. I recently got a new Cubs jersey that actually has Cards and Talk in '99 on the back of it.
Wow,
So I've been trying to wear that for like important games for the
that's
Cubs.
awesome. Very cool.
Uh, Again, I'm not that superstitious either.
Yeah, I definitely got some friends that are very superstitious, but not me, not yet at least. Maybe when I make it big time and I find something that works, I might have some superstitions.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It means so much to me.
Yeah, no problem, man. I was glad to do this, and I just hope you continue this love for baseball. And it's awesome to see what you're doing. I hope one day you get to be where you want to be.
Yeah. Thank you so much again. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next week.
See ya. Thank you for having me.
Big thank you to Davidjohn Halls for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next week. Bye.